Hey guys, it's Monday on the Real DVD Watchers, and today I'm going to be reviewing, as you can see, Afterlife, the complete second series, or season. This series takes place not long after the first series, and but this season kind of more deals with some pretty bad news that Andrew Lincoln gets, and that Leslie Sharp is also dealing with her mother's ghost haunting her. I thought the second series was better than the first series overall. I really liked it a lot. It got more into the emotional depth of the characters, and it felt more like a whole piece as opposed to individual episodes. Even though there were individual stories in pretty much all the episodes, but it certainly felt like it held together better. But I didn't like the fact that when the ghost, the 4 or 5 episode arc or whatever it was of the mum ghost haunting Leslie Sharp, it really made the Alison character kind of unlikable, because she became so destroyed by her mother haunting her and all this things that her mother was doing, that it really just made her kind of push everything away from her and push Andrew Lincoln away from her, and just made her seem kind of just annoying and selfish in those few episodes. And I was like, oh crap, is this just this? I just really didn't like her. And then I was also kind of ticked off that the kind of bad news, which I won't say in case of spoilers, that Andrew Lincoln gets in this series, kind of by the end of series 1, the last episode, kind of made him a believer in ghosts and stuff for the first episode or 2 of series 2. But then he got this really bad news, and that sort of catapulted him back into being a skeptic, which really annoyed me, because I was just like, oh, how can you just ignore everything you're seeing? You can't just pull a Scully on us, alright? But it did have some really interesting stories. I really liked the Rat Man story and that kind of whole thing. But otherwise felt like the ending was a little bit weak. But I also really liked the episode of the baby lullaby. It was really, really well done and really creepy. And I was like, oh thank God I'm not watching these at night time, because they would just like creep me the fuck out even more. But that episode was dark as well, really dark. And the last 2 episodes were really sad, and you'll know why if you've seen it. Really, really sad. The end scene especially of episode 7, which is the penultimate episode, it's just really heartbreaking, because Andrew Lincoln comes to see Leslie Sharp's character, but it's kind of sort of not really Andrew Lincoln, and you'll know what that means. I'm trying to like stay away from spoilers. You'll know what that means if you've seen it. And it's just so sad. And then of course the last episode, it just is even more heartbreaking. It's just so kind of devastating. And even though the show was cancelled, ITV decided not to recommission it for a 3rd series. I felt the ending was fitting and did work well as an overall ending, but I would have liked to have seen it continue onto a 3rd series, although I don't know how they could have done that. I really enjoyed episode 6 as well, because that kind of got into the backstory of Alison's character, which some stuff had been hinted at a little bit in the first series. But I feel bad for Alison, because she's had fucked up shit happen to her, like a lot. A train accident and all the stuff with her mum and her dad, and just like, Christ, how much can one person take? And I wish we could have got into Andrew Lincoln's character's backstory a bit more, and just like we tapped into that a bit in the first series, but I felt like there was more to reach into, and I wanted a bit more. I felt like we were really digging into the past of Alison, and we weren't doing that so much with Andrew Lincoln's character. But I did like the fact that he was sort of reconnecting with Jude. And although I can understand why he wasn't really telling many people about his bad news that he got, it also did come off as a little bit selfish. But then again, you know, it must be so hard to tell someone that. But overall I thought it was a very good series, and I would have liked there to be a 3rd series, but what can you do? It wasn't like it ended on a big cliffhanger. I thought it was well done. It felt like it was wrapped most things up, but I could have, you know, another 8 episodes wouldn't have hurt. But there you go, that's Afterlife Series 2. I hope you enjoyed this review, and I hope I didn't ramble too much. Okay, peace.